So for anyone watching the live or the replay, what's going on is that we are over on Zoom right now, and we're going to be interviewing 3 different incredible heart-centered leaders to bring their stories to you so you can learn more about them and hear more about what they do, and they're going to share with you. And then what's happening over in the Facebook group is that, all right, I got it all open. If you're in the Facebook group, you have the ability to ask us questions and to get involved in the conversation in the comment section. So right now I have on Sandra Sharp, all the way from Dubai. So I believe it's bedtime over by her. Is it bedtime?
Almost.
Almost. Sandra, we'll do a proper intro. I don't have like a bio that I'm going to read or anything, but Sandra is a past client of ours who had gone through Empower, and she has such an incredible story. But one of the things that I want to share with you before we get into, spoiler alert, having a baby, overcoming cancer, building a super successful business, all while being laid off. One of the things that I just want to acknowledge you for is showing up and figuring out how. So we get a lot of questions, a lot of conversations right now. Doors for Empower close tomorrow, and a lot of hesitation is around time. I don't have the time. I have a child. I have a 9-to-5 job. And you are just such a brilliant example of someone who not even made the time. And it's not about making it a priority, because we never want people to feel disempowered that they're not making their business a priority. But you were on a lot of the live coaching calls, probably most of them. And I remember your screen being like almost pitch black because you were in your pajamas, like in bed. It's 11 p.m. in Dubai, and you were making it to calls. And if you couldn't make it to calls, you showed up in the Facebook group, you asked your questions, you got your answers, your audits, and you connected with people. And so I just want to acknowledge you here in front of everybody to say, it was incredible watching you. It still is incredible watching you scale the business, but it really was just wild watching you go through the program, having a brand new baby, just having overcome cancer, building this business, being in Dubai at the time I was in New York. So just incredible what you've done. But let's intro you properly. This is Sandra. Like I said, what would you call yourself? Health, wellness, hormone specialist?
So first of all, thank you for that introduction. I feel so honored to be here. And I'm really like, it means a lot to me that you say things like that I've, successfully done all of this while being a mom, because there's some days where I'm like, what the hell am I doing? But I'm sure any mother or any parent can relate. But formal introduction. So my name is Sandra Sharp. Obviously, I am a certified functional medicine health coach, and I specialize in gut health and hormones specifically. So I help women basically overcome or restore hormone balance by going through a root cause approach. So obviously, as a functional medicine health coach, we go into all things root cause. So that's sort of what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And where did it come from? Were you always doing it, or was it out of your own journey that you went through?
No. So basically, being in the world of health and wellness really kind of came out of my own struggles. And it was the fact that I wasn't really getting the answers that I was constantly looking for through my own health journey. When I was 16, I think it all kind of started when I was 16, this whole passion for health and wellness. And when I was 16, I actually got diagnosed with Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is an autoimmune disease, which led me to have severe hypothyroidism. My body like shut down when I was 16. I was sleeping like 19 hours a day. I had a huge swollen thyroid. I just my body stopped functioning. And on top of all that, I had loads of gut issues, loads of hormone imbalances. And so, I think that experience just made me so much more aware of my body. And I really wanted to start to dig deeper, because when I asked questions, they were being shut down, or like, no, I'm the doctor, you're the patient, kind of thing. So I wasn't getting the answers. I wasn't understanding why these things were happening in my body. And I really was so curious. And I think that curiosity led me to kind of be in this health and wellness world over the years, because by the time I was in my mid-20s, I had been through every protocol, seen every doctor, done everything, all the like XYZ that you can think of when it came to all the supplements and all of that. But I still wasn't getting any better. And so it wasn't until I kind of just ditched all of that and I went back to basics and I healed myself basically. And so, that was kind of like the whole thing that the whole experience that basically led to what I'm doing today and what I help women do today.
Yeah. So incredible. Thank you for sharing the story. And I think a lot of people can relate. I've had a lot of conversations with people just about exactly that, right? Becoming your own advocate, whether you're becoming your own advocate in your health, whether you're becoming your own advocate in your business, it's really standing up and saying like, either something doesn't feel right, or there's got to be a better way, or I know that there's something else out there, and doing the research that it takes and getting gritty and resilient to do that. So you did that. And you sort of it catapulted you into health and wellness. And then where did you decide I'm going to build an online business? Like at what point were you like, I'm going to help other people around the world with this?
Yeah. So before Empower, briefly sort of like where I was before Empower. So I was in corporate for 8 years. I was in a 9 to 9 job. Let's not lie to ourselves. It was not 9 to 5. I was in advertising. I basically lived in the office. That I lived and breathed advertising because that's just the nature of the job. But I felt super suffocated, and I knew that I did not want to be in corporate, but I had no idea what I was going to do. And in 2017, I had a lot of personal life shifts, a lot of things going on in my life. And I basically just threw in the towel and I was like, F it, I'm just going to quit corporate. I know I can do better. I know I've got more to offer. And cut a long story short, I found a coaching certification for health coaching. I stumbled across it randomly online. And I was like, this is it. This was like the sign from the universe to become a health coach. And so by 2019, I had done 2 health coach certifications, but I had a little bit of experience with clients here and there. And I was just doing general healthy living, well-being for women. But I had no idea sort of how to take that to the next step. So 2019, I got pregnant, and February 2020, I became a mom, and a month later, the pandemic happened. And so I was in this whirlwind of being unemployed. I wasn't seeing clients, so I wasn't making any sort of income. My husband at the time was also out of a job, and we had a little baby to care for. And on top of all that, postpartum anxiety, postpartum hit me really hard. And I was just anxious from everything that was going on in the world, plus everything personally that I was experiencing. And on top of all of that, in June, I got diagnosed with stage 1 thyroid cancer, which had been basically growing inside of me since before I became pregnant, but was discovered in a random routine checkup that year. So as you can imagine, it was this whirlwind of what the hell is going on.
So hold on. Would you say it was not an ideal time to go start a business?
No, you could say probably not the best time.
Yeah.
No, it was everything was just it just super chaotic. And I was trying to navigate obviously all of that while being a new mom. And I had we've talked about this before. I had a major identity crisis. Here I was advocating health and wellness to women, and I had just gotten cancer. And I was like, how is anyone ever going to believe anything that I say if I've basically been defeated myself?
Yeah.
And so that just kind of plummeted me more into a dark hole. And I was like, well, now what am I going to do? I need to find something because I really wanted to grow this passion of mine. I just had no idea how to do it. And so I think shortly after my surgery and after my whole healing journey with the cancer ended, thankfully, I think it was in October or November, right before Empower launched that round, I spoke to you, and we had a brief conversation. I applied to Empower, and I was like, you know what? This is it. I think after one conversation, I told Jessica, I'm signing up. It was one of those things that I really had to just follow my gut, and my gut instinct was just all the way, yes, this is it. This is what you've got to do. You need guidance. You need someone who has lived through this experience, who has built a life that you obviously look at. I looked at your videos and I looked at your life and I was like, this is what I want. This is it. So yeah, and that's what made me sign up.
So how did you overcome? Because I mean, I was there with you, but I don't remember it, and I wasn't inside your head completely. So how'd you overcome this feeling of kind of imposter, this identity crisis you were having of who am I to teach this thing when like I literally am on the other side of cancer? Who's going to listen to me when I'm talking about health and wellness? Like, what was it that you had to do, say, feel, believe? How'd you kind of overcome that so that you could step into your expertise?
Yeah, I really had to just get out of my own way. And I think that was something that you really helped me do, to be honest. Like the whole experience with Empower and just speaking to, and honestly, just speaking about my experience. Like I hadn't really voiced it out much. And it was really getting out of my own way and remembering that, like, as you always said, you are the secret sauce, you are the story. And this is why people are going to come to you and, want to buy from you and want to work with you and want to be in your world because you've lived through that experience. And so that was like a massive perspective shift. And once that happened mentally, I was like, wow, like now there's like endless possibilities of things of where to go from here. So it really required a lot of like inner work and just being able to get out of my own way, really. Yeah.
So then how do you navigate something like, I don't even know, have you had a client come to you who was in a similar situation? Maybe they're going through cancer or something. Have you had anyone like that?
Yeah, I had. So when I shared my story, and this was actually during Empower, I had shared my story previous to Empower, and I kind of talked a lot more about it when I started Empower on social media. And so many people were like, thank you for sharing this. And I got like thousands of messages from clients, from women, from followers. And they were just like, thank you. Like, I'm so glad to know I'm not alone. And I was like, I was just mind blown because you really forget that like people, and I felt the same way, I felt like I was alone. And so I actually forgot what your question.
Yeah, no. So I didn't really get to ask the second part of it yet, but it's, did people or were people who are going through something similar come to you? And then the second part of the question is, then that's like probably a whole other layer of now imposter where you're like, hold on, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a cancer specialist. So how do you navigate? How have you navigated something like that? Because that's something that people are like, well, I'm not certified, which you're not, right? Like I'm not qualified. I'm not a doctor. So then how do you continue to just have this like full-time faith, this dumb confidence, this energy and drive to go and help people when there's like this whisper and this voice of people saying like, but you're not a doctor?
Mm-hmm. So basically, I mean, in my scope, being able to just listen to people really and be able to, I think what people really need and what I've seen obviously in my community and with my followers and with clients is that people just really want to be able to relate to someone. They don't want someone telling them what to do specifically, right?
Wait, can you say that again?
They don't want people telling them what to do. They want you, and again, this goes to like the come with me experience, right? Like I've been there, come with me. I'm not telling you like, look at me. So I think that approach and the way that I've had conversations with people have been, and I've heard it from them myself. Like they were like, this is, thank you. That was like one of the biggest things was like, thank you. I've been to the doctors, but I haven't had someone sit down with me and like listen to me and talk to me and I haven't felt heard. And these are all things that I continuously hear from women and from clients. And so this is how I sort of built my coaching practice. And this is what, actually what I'm good at is listening to people. Yeah. And so I've taken that and just like built on that and added what my scope of practice is, which is my experience versus, and obviously all the certificates that I've had and certifications and all that, but it was really just being there for people. And that's what worked.
I have chills when you were saying that. And someone even just said, the come with me, which we always talk about in Empower. It's not look at me, it's come with me. And it's so beautiful. You said it twice. I stay within my scope of practice, right? Like legally, I'm in my scope of practice. I stay in my lane, and then I'm a shoulder, I'm an ear, I'm a container.
Yeah.
And I think it's so important because I made you say it again. If people just wanted information, y'all, we would be going to the encyclopedia. Like nobody wants to go to the encyclopedia to figure out their challenges. No one wants to open up the encyclopedia at night and read through to feel better. That's why we're always grasping at things like personal development books and let me listen to a podcast, because we feel connected to the author or to the person, to the speaker, to the host. And so it just, yeah, totally. It landed for me too, Kelly. And I know Sandra, and I've been there through the business building. So, all right, now you've been out of Empower for a while. You have a signature program called the Rebalance Method. Which you are currently doing a new brand, like new website for. I'm so excited I saw that. I'm so excited to see what it looks like. But what does your business look like now? Because now your little peanut is actually almost 2.
She is 2, yeah.
2. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Now you have a 2-year-old. Your clean bill of health.
Yeah, thankfully all good.
Thriving business.
Always a work in progress.
Yeah, of course. So what does your business look like now? How has it changed? How has it stayed the same? Have you added things to it? Have you deleted things? What's your focus?
Oh, it's always changing. Like that's what's so exciting about it is that, and what's so exciting about entrepreneurship in general is that like you can just build and add and remove and, you know, whatever you feel is needed. And, so my business, so now we are in, we've just finished the 4th round of, almost finished the 4th round of Rebalance Method. And I'm launching the 5th round. We start in May, which is super exciting.
Incredible.
We've had, I've had about 90 women come through the program so far. Oh
no, it's going to happen.
No, cry. 90 women come through the program and 6 figures in a year of doing business. So last year I made 6 figures. And, you know, I had the first launch I had with Empower was a 5-figure launch. I had 12 women, 12 incredible women who I was so lucky to work with the first round. And after that, I was just, you know, kind of piecing together things that I had learned from Empower. You know, adding things, removing things, trying launches differently. Every single launch has been different for me since I've started. I ended last year with 35 women in my launch in my program, which was insane. So right now I'm adding a lot more content into my program, a lot more subjects. I'm tweaking things because I'm also getting more knowledge, also more certifications to be able to do more things for my clients, like lab testing and things like that. So I'm trying to like expand my services and be more of a shoulder for people to kind of lean on. And I'm working with doctors. So I've got 2 doctors that have been guest coaching regularly in my program. Cool. I've got therapists. I've got, it's just been amazing. And I have women messaging me all the time, asking me about how can I join your program? How can I work with you? And just to be able to do that. And mind you, I had a very small following when we started. Like it was a good, decent following, but I think I tripled my following in a year, just from literally being like genuinely just talking about things that no one really talks about in the women's health space, especially in this region. And women were just like floored. They were like, how is this not being talked about? You also, you got super niche and you've just sort of been saying the same things, for lack of a better term, like over and over and putting out the same type of content over and over and over. And so these people are finding you. And so many people think that if I go niche, I'm going to like lose out on opportunities, but it's a complete opposite. Yeah. Complete opposite. So we don't take responsibility for anything. I don't take responsibility for anything in Empower. It's just, it's a tool. And what we like to do is we like to offer a buffet of different tools. So even when you said like each launch has been different and I'm trying things and deleting things and adding things, but you're still running the Rebalance Method, which is what you built in Empower a year ago. Mm-hmm. And you're running it on lather, rinse, repeat, which is what we taught. And so, yes, you're making tweaks and changes and edits. And is it true that you're gaining confidence as you go to be more free flowing in your business and to make decisions to change things? 100%.
Okay.
And I think,
go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you go.
No, I was going to say, I think it actually excites people as well, because like, I'm still continuing, like the women who come into my program, I'm still kind of forming a graduate community. I still offer things to them. So when they see that I've added stuff to the program, they still have access to those things. So it's like, it excites people even more, which is great.
Well, and I love that you brought up you're making changes as you're learning and growing as well. And I know this is true even with Empower, because Jake is early, because with Empower, like there's certain things that I teach that maybe I used to teach a different way. I don't even believe that way anymore, or I've gotten better at teaching it. I can teach it faster. There's new analogies I want to bring in. So I just want to acknowledge you again for being okay with being in flux and understanding that's actually a superpower as a business owner, is to be able to be adaptable and malleable and make changes. So I want to ask a question that someone asked here, and they asked, what have you found to be the best way to invite others to come with you for you to share your story?
As in like how I've specifically done it, like techniques, or just in terms or on platforms. So I've honestly just been super honest with people in conversations, like anyone who's approached me about like health issues. And mind you, I get messaged about health issues that are really pretty intense. And a lot of them I've had to refer out to doctors because they're things that like are a little bit out of my scope or too complicated. But when I tell them, when I speak to them in DMs, and I really put a lot of effort in my conversations with people, as in I spend time speaking to them, I ask them questions, I relate to certain points that they've told me. And I think that just kind of, because you have to think of it from their point of view, they're messaging someone who might feel intimidating for them. They're being completely vulnerable and sharing like a whole life story. And so when you give them that time, and it's not just like some automated message, I think that brings their guard down, and it just makes them want to speak to you even more. And like, I kid you not, I get like essays in my DMs. So I think that's just been my kind of way of saying, come with me. Like, I get you. I also, like I've shared it on social media before, I also am still going through things. Like, I'm still having issues with my hormones some days. I'm still navigating motherhood. Like, I'm just trying to keep it as real as possible. And I think being genuine and being as real as possible, especially in this world of like so many ridiculous things on social media, I think people just crave that. They just want like real people. So just staying true to yourself and just being real with your community, your followers.
So based on everything you just said, I'm going to ask you a question, and I didn't prep our speakers today with questions. So I'm just throwing stuff at them. If you had to pick one thing that has built the business, scaled the business, and kept the business going, what would be the one key thing? If there was one thing you focused on, your business was shut down, you had to restart tomorrow, what's the one thing that you're doing first?
Oh, that's a difficult one. So I think just nurturing my community, really, like nurturing the people, just nurturing everyone that I've spoken to, worked with, and really banking on those relationships, because that's really how your business flourishes, is nurturing those relationships. That's what I was hoping you were going to say, because everything that you just said for the last 25 minutes was about connecting. It was about listening. It was about real humanness, and it was about relationships. And so I know for me, I was asked that question recently, like if I lost everything and had to start the business again tomorrow, the question was, what 3 things would I focus on? And one of my 3 was relationships. And so when people get bogged down with, I'm not enough, I don't have enough certifications, I'm not ready, all of these thoughts that come up, the reality of it is, like, the core to your business is relationships and relationship capital, right? So it's just really, it's getting in the rooms, it's getting in the DMs, it's answering people. I'm not saying that there aren't businesses that shouldn't maybe use automated responses, but that's one area for us where we're like, I will not outsource that. Yeah. It's me. No, it's a very valuable part of my business. And I agree with you. It's something that I would never outsource. I've even actually tried to do it, and I did it for like 2 days, and I was like, nope, that's not gonna, no,
Because then you
not
don't
gonna
know
happen.
what's going on. You're like, what's going on with my people? How do they feel? It's good market research to be in the DMs. You're connecting, right? So I love that. Yeah. All right. So as we wrap up and put a bow on our time with you, we're getting wonderful comments. People are just saying, you're such a rock star. Thank you for sharing. You're so amazing. Looks like we have one of your friends here who is just super grateful that you're here as well. So my question for you. Yeah. What would, now you kind of took the leap. Ooh, you took the leap. You went with your gut. But what would you tell the past version of yourself or someone right now who's like, oh, I really want to join, but so what would you say to them?
Yeah. So a few things. I would say definitely take a chance on yourself. Like just follow your gut instinct. I'm a huge believer of like the universe just slaps you in the face with a sign. And that was really what it was. Like that's, you know, how did I randomly come across your profile? And, you know, I took that as a sign and it really just follow your gut and be scared to do the damn thing, but just do it anyway, really. Because that discomfort that you go through, which is, I went through so much discomfort while I was in Empower and like even just being vulnerable on social media. There was so much anxiety around that, but that brought so much growth, like in my business, personally, in my relationships with people, in my community. And so my advice would be just really take a chance on yourself. You have, even if you don't believe it right now, you have so much to offer. And it's just really getting in the right room and getting guided by the right people to help bring that out of you and help you see that. So yeah.
Incredible. I'm so grateful for you. I can't ever have a conversation with you when I don't cry. It's just hearing that you've worked with 90 women and imagine like what that turns into, this ripple effect we always talk about. So these women that you've worked with, what they're doing at home, how they're making changes in their life, showing up for their friends and family. This is truly the ripple effect. And when I hear that someone was able to come through Empower, learn just something, learn one thing, implement it. And again, we don't take credit for your business. You've done all of it, but it's like to watch you go and continue to grow and invest in yourself and invest in your business and just impact more people. It brings tears. So I have endless gratitude for you. I'm so proud of you. I love you so much. And if people want to find you on Instagram, where can they find you?
Sure. It's at Sandra Sharp with an E Wellness.
Amazing. Maybe Team DBE is going to tag your handle right now. And if anyone has questions for Sandra, you could pop them in that live chat. She's actually in this Facebook group with us. So you can go see all the nice things that everyone had to say.
Oh, thanks so much, everyone. Thanks for joining. Thank you, Jess.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. Next up, we are shifting the energy here. It's a little bit different story, different business, different guy. So give me a second to gather myself here. We've got Jake. Can you hear me? Okay. I think you're on mute. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Perfect. So we are totally shifting over. We started off with Sandra in Dubai. She's a mom. She's a cancer survivor. She had lost her job. So did her husband right before the pandemic, and then built this 6-figure business in less than a year. Pretty epic. So now we've got Jake Keffler. He is all the way in California, and Jake already had a business when he came to me. Jake is an incredible networker. His network is insane. And the network that he has doesn't even reflect his followers. So we get caught up. We think that we have to have a lot of followers or the blue check mark. It means we're important. You guys, the people that Jake connects with, he's doing lives all the time with people. He's written multiple books. We're going to talk about that. The people that he has connected with, this man knows everybody, and everybody who's important, everyone who's got the blue check mark, everyone who's got the big business. And so when Jake came to me, he had an incredible network. He had an incredible business already. He was not a newbie. And he had written at the time 2 best-selling books. And so he came to us and he was looking to actually, he thought, build something out in this business realm. But I saw something a little bit different that I wanted him to kind of jump into. So Jake, super excited that you're here, super grateful. If you want to just give us like a once over, tell us who you are, what's your superpower statement, who do you help, what do you do?
Yeah, thanks so much, Jess. I feel like I'm getting ready to come on stage here, getting announced for a starting lineup. But yeah, my name is Jake Kelfer, and I help entrepreneurs turn their dream of writing a book into their reality. And that all started essentially, while working with you, is kind of making that evolution to the next phase of my life. My big mission is to turn dreams into reality. We've done it with NBA players, and now we do it with entrepreneurs and helping them write their books.
Amazing. And so while we were doing Digital Business Evolution Live over the last week and a half, one of our clients from Empower, who's also a head coach in Empower, launched her book, and Mike actually offered to buy it to the first 50 people who had emailed him. So fun fact, everyone, Mary, the book that we were sending out, Empowered and Aligned Project, she wrote with Jake. So you helped take her from crazy, stupid idea to writing a book, publishing it, launching it, and also becoming an Amazon bestseller in how many months?
It was quick.
It was super
less
fast.
than 6 months or something like that. And she was, in Empower, she had a full-time job and everything. So that was unbelievable.
Unbelievable. She has, this interview is not about her, but full-time job, 2 part-time jobs, and running her own business, which technically would be a third, and then wrote this book and was able to bring it to bestseller with the help of you. So what I want to talk about today is kind of this idea of not necessarily knowing where you're going and then also pivoting, because the conversation that's coming up a lot right now, people are saying to me, well, I don't have full clarity on what I want to do, where I want to go, what I want to build, or I'm not 100% sure on my niche. I haven't really decided. And then they tell me, I'm going to wait and I'm going to sit with my thoughts by myself for a couple months and I'll come back to you when I'm ready. And I can't help but laugh because I know what that actually means and what that actually turns into. And the irony of it all is that we actually help you with making the decisions of which direction you could be going in. So the whole thing is just kind of ironic. But you did come to me initially thinking, I'm going to build out a group coaching program for business coaches, which you did, right, to help people build businesses. And along the way, I started to kind of sprinkle in, you've got this superpower that a lot of us don't have. You've written books before, best-selling books, and you know how to do that, and I don't. And there's a lot of business coaches out there. So what if we took this angle of, with authors, right, with books, bringing that in, and teaching people how having a book could really elevate their business, and having a book could have them stand out from the crowd, and it could offer up credibility and authority and clout. What came up for you when I was like, yeah, I like your idea, but I have a better one?
Yeah, I mean, look, at any time you're working with a coach, there comes this, I come from the sports background. I worked with NBA players, and so I understand how important being coachable is. And that's a quality that every person needs to have if you want to get to the next level. Now, I come in to work with you, already energy is a little bit different. I come from a very masculine, let me get it done, ambitious, here we go. And you showed me how to handle both my masculine and my feminine energy to really understand where I need to go and how to utilize it. So as you're doing that, I was coming in with an open mind, but also with this ego of saying I'm doing a great job already. I just want to scale this. And you propose this idea of really saying, well, Jake, what is something that you really can offer that not everyone else can, right? And I was like, okay, interesting. And there was definitely a little tension. I'm not gonna lie, not between me and you, but between me and my thoughts of saying okay, she's now challenging me. I'm building great steam. She's now challenging me to shut that down, create something different, and make a new evolution. I was like, all right, let's give it a go. So then what you did was you were like, all right, you're gonna do a guest coaching experience here. Put together a PowerPoint and make it happen. And that was kind of when it was oh, I actually do know a lot about this. I am a specialized expert here, and I can use the skills that I'm most passionate about to live out my purpose, which is something that you talk a lot about, is that the purpose is so important. And so as time went on, I came to a crossroads of, okay, now I have a PowerPoint that I put together in an hour that I did a guest coaching thing on. And now I have this opportunity. Do I stay with what I'm doing that's working pretty good, or do I leave what's working pretty good and go for something that could be excellent? And at the end of last year, we completely shifted everything after doing some trial and some beta, some market research, kind of following the framework of really understanding who's your avatar, where are you going, right? You don't have it all figured out. But I said, let's just see what happens here. And immediately people were starting to refer me already, even though they hadn't even gone through my program, which I was like, oh, that's something, right, that we want to tap into, especially as a networker. And then B, I was like, you know what? I'm now putting myself into a market with 100 million less people to compete with, right?
Yeah.
And by doing that, it's now given me something. We've had record-breaking months already this year, and we've just pivoted. So we're just getting known. We haven't even set up all the big things, but we've already had record-breaking months on this idea, and we're on pace to scale bigger than I ever would have done at the speed at which I would have done it.
It's so incredible to hear, but I want to acknowledge you for, especially as, man, woman, sometimes it can be really difficult. You just dropped the ego. Like, I want to acknowledge you for that. We don't want to put that lightly, because that's the thing that gets in people's way. I know it already. I know what to do. I've done this before. I've read the book. This was my idea. My idea is the best. My business is already working, right? All of these things come up for people, and we become our own worst enemy. We become our own bottleneck in our business. And so I want to acknowledge you, because you really, truly, you just like, you pulled it out and you were like, just let the sand flow. I'm seeing a funnel right now for some reason. And so we often are the cog, right? We're the bottleneck, and you just like pulled the trigger, and it was like, and anything that you were open to receiving kind of came in. And so you've made this pivot. What you're doing now is incredible. Record-breaking months, like high months. It's absolutely amazing. You were able to join another high-level mastermind I know you had been looking at for a while, which is one that I was in for a while, which is just so powerful to be in those rooms that really, really stretch you. And you've continued to now grow and scale the business in all of these different areas, but like you said, still using that same very boring framework that a lot of us think that once we've done it, we don't need it again. So my question for you is, when you went to go make this very slight pivot into actually niching down even more, because you went from business coach to like business coach helping entrepreneurs like with writing books, right? So we're now even more niche, and yet your revenue is going up. Interesting, right? So as you sort of made this slight pivot, did you have to go back to the drawing board?
Yeah. Look, there is something that, I look at when I look at why NBA players are so successful. Okay. You have Kobe Bryant, you have Michael Jordan, you have LeBron James. What do all those people have in common? Number one is they focus on the fundamentals. They focus on their best skill sets, and they focus on getting improvement by coaching. Okay. And when you look at why the best in the world are the best in the world at what they do, it's because they've mastered the fundamentals. And anytime they want to level up, they go to the fundamentals, make sure that's good before moving on. So they're shooting layups to start. They're shooting form jump shots to start. Okay. And what then happens is then you see Kobe doing fadeaway jumpers from the elbow, right? He made so many buckets doing that. The same thing happens here in coaching. Every time, look, anyone that's listening right now, you don't have ideas, lack of ideas, okay? You have all of the different ideas, and you don't know which one to go with or where to niche down, or if is it too broad, is it too narrow, or what, right? And what you have to understand here, and what I had to really take a second was like, the more you do the fundamentals, the quicker they become. The quicker they become, the better you get. The better you get, the quicker you can achieve the result you aim to achieve, right? And then you combine that with coaching from somebody who can hammer home the fundamentals, but who can also get you to the place you want to go because they've been there. They see your path before you can see it. Doesn't mean it's going to be A to B in a straight line, but they see where you want to go, and they know how to help you formulate those ideas using the fundamentals to get you to the high level expertise level. And that's something that was so powerful.
Yeah, but my question for you, because this is something that comes up also, like I've never written a book before. So how am I going to help you?
In terms of writing a book?
Just in general, like sometimes the question comes up of like, with all due respect, I've never written a book. I've never brought a book to market. So why me? What could you trust in me that I could help you bring your book idea or your business idea? Like I'm working with a dentist right now. And he was like, but you don't know anything about dental. I'm like, it doesn't matter, but to him it does. So can you explain like, how could I possibly get you there if I've never done it?
Well, I think there's two different types of things that we have to understand here. Is that when we're building a business, the fundamentals of building a business are all the same. You need to find a way to bring people into your business. You need a way to convert those people. You need an offer that those people are going to go crazy over. And then you need to deliver on that offer. I don't care if you're a dentist, if you're a real estate agent, if you're a fitness trainer, if you're an athlete, the results are the same. Now, of course, is there advanced specialization down the road at a certain point? Maybe yes, but that's skill set related. That's not general related, which is where we have to begin. So every business has the same fundamentals, right? I've worked with people that have done Microsoft Excel, right? And you know who Kat is, right? Like she's a superstar. I'm not an Excel guy. I've worked with people that are in real estate. I've worked with people that are teaching other women how to do things. Do I teach other women? Am I a woman? No. But the fundamentals of business are the same. And that's where I think you're one of the best in the world at, is you understand how to take the fundamentals, make it simplified, follow a step-by-step process, and at the end of it, you find the freaking buried treasure at the end of a rainbow or whatever it is. Like it's that beautiful, you know what I'm saying? And so I think that it's really important for us as the consumer, us as the person who's looking at a coach, or us as the person who's open to receiving coaching, is to recognize they don't have to be exactly in the same space as us. They need to understand how business operates. Yeah. And if they can give us that foundational approach, then we're going to be A-okay, because it'll all develop itself as we experience it.
It's so interesting. I'm seeing like the duality if we flip it right now. So for the person listening, whether you're here live or you're watching the replay, this may have been a story on loop in your brain that you're not far enough ahead, or you're not an expert enough, or you aren't in this particular skill set, as you said, to now go coach people over here. So it's not just about who are you hiring and what room are you getting into, but rather, are you capable of doing it for other people? Because that's like the biggest thing that comes up for people is, I don't have enough followers. I'm not experienced enough. I don't have enough certifications. There are people that are better than me doing it already. Right?
Yeah. I mean, look, I wrote my first book with no email list and barely an Instagram. You know what I mean? Like, and that became a bestseller. And
isn't it almost easier though, when you isn't it, I feel like ignorance is bliss. And it's almost easier at the beginning when you have no followers, when you have no email list, you're just doing it and you're like, whatever, if it sticks, it sticks. It's when it starts sticking that there's like pressure where you're like, oh my God, I have all these people and counting on me, right?
100%. And, like I started the Combine, I built this MBA event, and I didn't know what I didn't know, which was a blessing, because had I known what I know now, I wouldn't have probably tried to do it. But I was a 24-year-old dude that wanted to change the game of basketball, so I went for it. And I think that sometimes we overanalyze what could go wrong. Sometimes by trying to make the same mistake. Sometimes, right? I think we overanalyze what could go wrong in this idea of, well, what if I invest and I don't return my money back? What if I invest and I don't end up building this business? What if I do this? It's like, well, hang on a sec here. We're focused on the negative. You're putting yourself in a position to tell the universe you ain't ready to receive it. Instead, and I would never have said put in the universe unless I worked with you know what I'm saying? But on the other flip side, it's, well, what if it goes right? Yeah. And so we have to ask ourselves as we think about this, are we focused on, are we not going to be able to do the thing? Are we scared of not being good enough? Are we scared of actually failing? Or are we scared of what if it goes right and we actually start to see the success? Because more times than not, we think it's an internal desire of failure, where we're like, oh no, what if I'm not good enough? But you're not new to your expertise. You're new to teaching it in a different way to new groups of people.
Oh, so good.
So sometimes you're afraid of, well, what happens when I do start teaching these people? What happens when I do start having money come in and I'm not working my 9-to-5 job, or I'm making more money per hour than I ever was, or I'm making more money per month than I thought was possible, and now I can go on this extra vacation. That sometimes is scary. I know I face that, the success side of scarcity rather than the failure side of scarcity. So I want to bring that up because I think it is so pivotal and so important for us as we go through this thought process to really ask ourselves, what do we really want and who can help us get there, right? Based on what have they done and who have they helped.
It's so good. I just wrote it down in the chat as a quote, but you're not new at your area of expertise. You're just new at what you're teaching, or you're teaching it in this capacity, or to who you're teaching it for or with, right? Which is just brilliant, because we're carrying around all of this knowledge and experience. Like you weren't even thinking twice. I don't know if it had even crossed your brain that you could help people write books, but you had written 2 bestsellers. So for me, there's this like flashing light, like their sirens are going off. But like, hello, you have this incredible thing that you could teach people. But for you, maybe it was just a hobby or a passion project, or it was just something that you did because you wanted to. And so you weren't thinking of it as that could actually be a business.
Yeah. For me, it was, okay, I had 2 bestsellers out. I was working on my 3rd and we started working together. And I was like, oh, this is fun. This is how I use to grow my business, right? And then I recognized, and when you said it, I was like, wait a sec. Not only can I use this to grow my business, this can become my business, because I went through the transformation. I've done the work. I'm an expert on this topic. I can teach somebody. Am I the best in the world at this? Probably not. But am I damn good at it and I'm going to get you the results you're looking for? Yes. And are you going to have a fun time in the process? Absolutely. Yeah. But the key thing here that I think you really helped me recognize was, Jake, this is something that is unique to you. This is an area that you can tap into. And let's look at the fundamentals. You know those things. How do we now incorporate this great idea and then put it together in a way that can be delivered at a super high level for people that will really change their life? And that's what we did. And that became what we call big idea to bestseller, right? And now that's the program. We turn dreams of writing a book into reality. We show you how to do it in less than 4 months. We show you how to have more fun, make it easier than ever. We have gamification. And now I get to go deeper instead of wider, which is a big thing that you talk a lot about, is making sure we go deeper into what we're doing rather than trying a million different things at the same time. Yeah. And so that's like been really, really influential and inspirational for me as I continue to build up this program. So I'm getting the whole plug into the foundations or the fundamentals, right? Like we got that. We plug into the fundamentals, keep doing them. You made a perfect example of athletes, how they're just always going back. I was an athlete, like you do skills every day, right? You warm up, you do skills. How did you, and are you still navigating anything that comes up in terms of like comparison, where you said, I'm probably not the best person to do this. They're probably better. And I'm just thinking right now, there's Hay House and there's Penguin Publishing, and there's all these big publishing places, Scholastic and all these things that have other experts in their umbrellas who might do what you do, who could do what you do, and who maybe do it better. So how have you navigated this comparison, for lack of a better term, of like, but people are already doing it and they're better than me? Yeah. I mean, first of all, comparison sucks. Like comparison sucks. Like we are all so guilty of comparing ourselves to people. By the way, that looks like the most massive mug of all time. I don't know if it's just huge, but okay.
It's big.
Yeah, it's a big mug. But there are this idea of comparison. We all have fallen into the comparison bias, the comparison trap. Okay. Now, sometimes comparing to learn is important to recognize and to understand, but comparing to feel that you are good enough is not the answer, because your definition of success, what you desire, is different than the person next to you. Even if you teach the exact same thing as the person to your left or to your right, the way you teach it and the voice that you have is going to be different than them. I was just on the phone yesterday with a guy who does the exact same thing as I do now, and I was hyped to talk to him. Sure. Are we going to compete for similar people? Yeah, but there's plenty of people out there that want to write a book that we're all going to win. All right. Yeah. When you change it from competition to collaboration and then intensify that with some excitement, that's where you really can start to see new flowers blossom. But let me take it one more time here. Is you ask specifically what happens when you start to think about, oh, there's already people doing it, right? And maybe there's people that are doing it better than you are doing it now. Well, first of all, every single one of those person had to start somewhere. They all started at block 1. Now they just may be on the turn of the racetrack or whatever it is. And the most important thing when you talk about this is this simple truth. We have to remember that there is somebody out there right now in this world that is waiting for us to teach them what we know in our voice at this moment in time. We have to trust that if we listen, we get coaching, we create what we were meant to create, that those people, we will find them and they will find us because they need us. And it has to be an internal responsibility for you, for anyone that's listening, to say, you know what? It's my responsibility to find those people to change their life. And it's your duty, if you know that what you have to offer will change somebody's life, it is your duty to create that program that will change their life, because they need to hear it from you at this moment. They don't need to hear it from the person to down the street. They don't need to hear it from the biggest name on social media. They need to hear it from you, because you're going to resonate with them with your stories, your voice, your methodology, whatever it is that makes you, you. Mm-hmm. That's how you eliminate some of that comparison and start to focus on your genuine greatness.
It's so good. And you know what's crazy? We are all just so caught up in our own world, in our own head, and our own followers and following, like who we're following. Don't forget, on social media, we curate what we see, like based on what we follow and what we like we're curating what we see. And that's kind of scary because it puts you into this bubble. And so there are times where I'll say a name like even Tony Robbins, who I think everybody knows Tony Robbins. He's so famous. He's been around forever. And yet there are people who don't know who Tony Robbins is. that doesn't mean that they're less than, or they're not good enough, or they're not smart or anything. They just literally don't know who he is. And so I could be sitting here comparing myself, I'm not, to Tony Robbins, but for the lack of the, for the example, I could be worried and comparing myself to Tony Robbins. And there are people in my audience who literally have never heard of him. And so they're following me because they think I might be the Tony Robbins to them, which, careful, because your ego, but that's what's happening, right? So people in our audience, people in our following, people in our community, they think of us that way. They think of us as the gurus, the experts, the people, the businesses that they aspire to, whatever that might look like. And we're over here going, well, I'm not as good as so-and-so. And it's so funny because I've been in Chris's mastermind for many years, and it's sort of the same kind of network and bubble of people. And last year we switched over to a different mastermind because I was ready to just kind of be introduced to a different group of people. Now, this mentor, James, and the people that he brings into his mastermind, no one in his mastermind has heard of any of the people that I talk about. And I'm like, how do you not know about all these like speakers and experts and coaches that I've worked with? It's like, how do you not know who those people are? They're so-and-so, they're so big and popular, they're so well-known, they have so many followers. But then the same thing happens where they'll say, oh my God, you don't know so-and-so? And I'm like, what? Who's that? They're like, they're the best person, whatever. I'm like, no, this is the best person to do that. But we're just like living in our own bubble. And so what you're saying is just so important for us to realize, because we did this thing in our third training where I had everybody close their eyes and I walked them through this visualization of us walking on the beach and someone being in the water, basically screaming for help. And I gave everybody a choice in this meditation to either keep walking or to go save the person. And I didn't prompt them on what to do. And I also didn't ask them afterwards which they picked, but I can assure you, I'm sure that 90% of the people, if not more, chose to help the person. And so I framed it as a lot of us are sitting on the shore. We're sitting on the sideline of our business because of all the fears, because of the comparison, because of these things that are coming up. We're literally not helping the people that are screaming for us because we think there's someone else that's better or more popular or who has more certifications or whatever. So I'm loving this. People are saying that they're loving your energy. They need to read what you've written. Tell us about the books that you have out. Tell us about the books that you're writing. Tell us about where your business is today, what it looks like now, and what are you working on? What are you excited about?
A lot of questions to unpack there. I love the
You can do it.
visualization analogy. Love the visualization analogy of the walking on the shore and the person asking for help. That's good. I may borrow that. I'll give you credit, of course.
No, I borrowed it from James.
No, then I will just, I'll use it, whatever. So here are the books that I've written. My first book, I wrote at 23 years old. It was called Elevate Beyond: How to Stand Out in the Job Market and Discover Your Passion. So you talk about fears and uncertainty.
23.
I was 1 year out of college and I wrote a career development book. That book got me to speak at colleges to people that were older than me who wanted to get jobs. All right. Talk about like diving through this and pushing through it because you realize that your message is more important than what people think. The second book is called Elevate Your Network. And Elevate Your Network is 25 Kelf keys. Instead of chapters, I call them Kelf keys because it's your book. You can have fun and do whatever the heck you want. And it's 25 Kelf keys to building extraordinary relationships in life and in business. That book's been incredible. That really catapulted my speaking business. The third book that recently came out in October, which you're featured in, was called The Elevated Entrepreneur. And that book is where I interviewed 39 of the world's greatest coaches, performers, and entrepreneurs with the hope to unlock people's freedom and understanding of what it means to achieve true success. That book features Chris Ducker, Lori Harder, John Gordon, the governor of Nevada, like all these amazing, amazing people in the book. So those are the three books. I'm working on 4 and 5 in my mind already. We'll see when those come out. I might do like a live, like write a book with me type thing. And that could be a fun offer that we put out, but TBD on that.
Do it.
Yeah. So we'll see on that. And then where I'm at right now is our main focus right now is focusing on building out our group coaching program, which is called Big Idea to Bestseller. And it basically helps entrepreneurs and coaches turn their knowledge, skills, and expertise into a best-selling nonfiction book. And we help you do that in 4 months or less. That's our goal. And that's what we're really focused on right now. So we'll be doing live trainings. We have free trainings and all that. So if you want to connect and learn more about any of those, or want to just talk about your book idea or your business idea or whatever, Instagram at Jake Kelfer is the best place to connect and get all the deets.
Amazing. Lauren dropped that in there for us already. One thing that I want to just bring to everybody's attention, because this happens all the time. We all have, like you said, ideas. We're not at lack of ideas. We all have a lot of ideas, especially the coaches and the entrepreneurs. We tend to all be visionaries. So like we're always getting the downloads. We can't even get to action fast enough, or we get overwhelmed with the action. So a lot of things I hear from people, I want to join Empower. I'm thinking about this program. I want to do this course. I want to join Jake. I want to write a book, but I want to do all these things, right? And so it's like, I just don't know. I'm overwhelmed with where to start, because I want to speak on stages. I want to have a podcast. I want to write a book. I want to have a membership. I want to host events. I want to do retreats, and I want to have $1 million coaching business. And I'm like, cool. It's all possible, but you need to start somewhere. And so something that I'm a huge advocate for, I think everybody knows, is starting with group coaching. And I just love the fact that this example backs up my belief. We start with group coaching. It gives us leverage. We can leverage it. It gives us testimonials. It gives us social proof. It gives market research. It gives ability to scale up, to scale down, to pull off and go evergreen. It gives us so much leverage that no other type of product could give us. But when I look at what you just said, and you told us what you do with entrepreneurs, and you help take their ideas, right? And yes, you turn them into dreams, but you take their ideas and you turn them into books. What Mary did was Mary ran her Aligned and Empowered project for 4 or 5 rounds. And that's her group coaching program. And then you took her group coaching program framework and helped her write a book from that. So her book is quite literally her coaching program. The coaching program came first, the book came second, and now she's leveraging the book back to cycle people into the course. Is that correct?
Yep. And to do more speaking engagements and different things like that. So it's a beautiful progression.
It's incredible. It is literally the coolest thing. I'm so grateful for you. You have so many superpowers. You're an incredible speaker. I'm just so grateful for your friendship. If you had to tell someone who's on the fence, or your old self when you weren't sure because you were scared of whatever it was, what would you say?
Pull the damn trigger. like pull the damn trigger, because for me, it's always this hesitation, right? And when I invested, it's always well, what if it doesn't work out? What if it doesn't lead to where I want it to go? What if the person isn't right for me? You know what? If you're at this point of the process and you're really thinking about everything, pull the damn trigger, give it a shot, and put the belief in yourself, not the reliance on somebody else to get you the results. And anyone that's watching this, like, you got the goods, pull the damn trigger, make your dreams happen. Let's fucking go. Excuse my language. Let's go.
I appreciate you so much. What you just ended it with is the most important part, and people get confused. You're not investing in me. You're not investing in our team. You're not investing in our program. You're investing in yourself. And that's the part that people can't get over, because that's the part that's scary, because when you realize that, you're fully responsible. It's not me. Jake, I'm so grateful for you. Thank you so much. Let me know when you are ready to write a book with me, because I think that's what I need. I need you writing it with me. That'd be so much fun.
Awesome. Thanks, Jess. Appreciate you.
Amazing. We dropped your Instagram. People can find you on there if they need you. I will see you later.
Bye.
All right. And last but certainly not least, hopefully we can turn her camera on. Andrea, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. How's it going?
Hello. Hi. Beautiful. I'm so excited. Thank you for joining me. So we have now worked through a mom who overcame cancer, who lost her job, and her husband lost his job before the pandemic. She's built a 6-figure business, incredible, helped over 90 clients, just amazing. And that was in health and fitness. We pivoted to Jake, who came in already having a business, already had success, and already was a best-selling author of 2 different books. But we really worked through how he pivoted and sort of moved his ego aside to sort of trust the process, if you will. And he's since gone on to make a major pivot. Now he's writing his 4th book, and just really, really cool stuff that he did. And so now we're going to put a bow on everything with you. Now, I actually shared about you in our training that we did. And I shared about how one of the things that came up, I hope you're open to talking about it. One of the things that came up for us when you were joining Empower was your age, and how you were hesitant because you felt young, and who would listen to you, and why would people want to buy from you, and thinking that your audience of your age wasn't going to buy, and people that were older than you couldn't possibly take you seriously. So I want to do a formal introduction of you. I don't have a bio or anything, but this is Andrea. She is I believe, TikTok expert. Andrea actually used to work for TikTok corporate. She has had incredible celebrity clients like DJ Tiesto, which I had shared, and she helps with all different types of social media and marketing. She's an absolute ninja. I have watched her not only grow her group coaching program, but her one-on-one clientele, her celebrity clientele. And I've watched her take clients of ours that have gone through Empower, start from zero on TikTok and scale them up to selling out their programs, going viral on TikTok, having millions of views, getting TED Talks, featured TED Talks just by blowing up on TikTok, and just really expanding their business in a way that appears to be more fun than just like creating boring content. So without further ado, Andrea, can you just give us like a little overview of who you are and what you do?
Jess, I just want to say that I wish we could have these lives every day because I just need this motivation and energy and just like this hyping up in my life more often. But thank you so much. And I'm just so grateful to be here. And just a little bit about me. At the stage when I joined Empower, I had actually just left my full-time job. I don't know if you remember, but it was like a birthday gift that I gave myself was to join Empower. And I remember applying like multiple times because I thought that you weren't going to accept me. So like I applied under like so many different emails, which was hilarious to just like look back at it. So when I first started with Empower, I was at this viral marketing agency called Sapphire, where we used to be TikTok's #1 vendor. And I basically spearheaded their amplification program here in the US and in Europe and Turkey, Italy, France, Russia, and a lot of other places that I did not know the language, but Google Translate came in clutch. And we were able to figure that out. And a very big part of my job was to analyze which videos had the ability to go viral and which videos had the capability of making the app grow its name. And this was 2019, right before the pandemic. So we really didn't see the app blowing up or anything just yet. And when I started transitioning out of that job, my main fear was what the heck do I have to sell? Because I don't have a multi-million-dollar agency and I don't have any tangible thing. At the time, all of my knowledge was here. And when I started Empower, I realized that everything that's here, we're able to put it into tangible deliverables to really scale our businesses in a way where I hadn't even thought about before. And as I joined, I remember being super scared because I was 22 at the time. And literally, this was September. I had just turned, I think, 23. And I was super, super scared. I did not know what I was doing, but I just decided to trust the process and see where it leads me. And I'm not going to lie, for those people who are starting to Empower, the first week, it's super motivating. The second week, you start getting a little scared. And then the third week, you're like, fuck, I don't want to do this anymore. But trust me, you just have to keep going. Because shortly right after that, as I simultaneously was building my group coaching program, I was also building my agency, my little boutique agency, which was just me. And I was able to somehow onboard DJ Tiesto and a bunch of other celebrities. It was kind of like magnet. I believe that we're all like magnetized in some way. And when we start believing in ourselves and start working towards something and building in public, like, taking people on our Insta story so that it's a come with me, not a look at me, you know what I mean? That really helped me put myself out there where people saw, oh, this girl's building a program, so let's get her right now while she's like at this stage so we can actually get to work with her one-on-one before her program becomes a big priority. So that is where I was before all of this started. And just to see the growth from now having a full-fledged multiple sources of income, being able to even scale into the crypto and NFT world and be successful at it there, having the clients that I had on posters on my wall, launching programs. And this year I'm also launching products too. I'm launching merch, Oracle decks, and all the good stuff. So I'm just so thankful for everything that's gotten me here. Yeah, I'm thankful for you.
We're thankful for you. And I told the crew I'd since hired you as well. So I've even hired you to help with getting me on TikTok because, I don't know what I'm doing over there. I'm too old for that, but I'm not, right? So one of the things that I love is you're so funny because you're just so like laid back about everything. You're like, yeah. And then I just like built this 6-figure business and I've got this agency and I've got all these cool clients. I moved into my dream apartment and since moved into another dream apartment. Now you're out of the city.
I'm right now like
grounded.
I see boxes and crap in the back. I just moved in.
No, I love it. You also just raised $200,000.
Yeah. With NFTs, yeah, it's so wild, right? Because I have like no idea what we're doing, but it worked out. And it's like, that's how I live my life. It's like, okay, it's working and we're building a really tight community, but it's really, me and my fiance have been able to, it's just a team of two, and we've been able to fundraise, because we were doing this in 2020 where we've always wanted to build a matchmaking app for gamers. And it's just basically based on skill sets. So for example, if I'm like a certain rank in League of Legends, I want to play with other certain ranks so that it doesn't mess up my gaming experience, right? And it's not about like the dating part of it. It's more about like finding friends and being able to make teams and then eventually monetize, because the creator economy in the gaming space is so big, right? So what we did was when we were pitching to investors, UBS actually agreed to give us a shit ton of money for a very high percentage. I think it was like 20% or 30% in pre-seed round. And as anyone knows, we don't do that. So we were just praying to God that something would happen. And then after, 2021, and this year, we realized that there's a big community in the NFT world, and that we could raise money with our community and have it be like for community to a community. You know what I mean? So it's just been really
incredible.
crazy.
It's so cool. You have your hands in so many different things, and it's wild when you're talking about this stuff. I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about. I know NFTs and crypto, but I don't know what you're talking about in the gaming world. And it's just proof again that like we can literally build businesses around anything that we know. It's a whole world that you're talking about. When Mike and I did RV life for a year, we were a part of this like little mini world, this ecosystem, this community of people who RV around or who do van life. And it's like this whole thing that we didn't know existed until we were part of it. And so people get so caught up in, well, who's going to want that? Or there's people doing it. We were talking about that with Jake. And I know for you, it was such an age thing, but I also want to just acknowledge you for the work that you've done, inside. I'll never forget one of the first DMs that you sent me. You had already joined Empower. You were already a client, and you sent me a DM because you were working on this proposal with Tiesto, and you were talking about your pricing.
Yeah. And oh my gosh, I was going to charge them $500 a month. Can you believe that? You were like, what the fuck?
$500 a month. If you don't know who DJ Tiesto is, he's arguably one of the most famous, probably wealthiest DJs. He's been around for a long time. I mean, 20 years I've been going to see him. So I was just like, $500 a month. This has nothing to do with, charge more because you can, because he has the money. It was like, hold on. I don't think you're seeing where this is going. I don't think you're seeing what's happening. And so we like 10x'd what you were charging just by a couple conversations, and they said yes.
Yeah, they said yes. And what's wild to me is the fact that a lot of these pricing things at the time seemed big. And now when even I'm investing in hiring someone or whatever, and I see their pricing and I see what I was at last year, I'm like, really? You charging that? Damn, we need to up those pricing. And then I realized, wow, it's all about mindset. So it really does take the inner work to heal those money wounds. And then something that also always stuck with me was the 5th grade, 4th grader analogy. I think, or 12th grader, 5th grader analogy. I don't remember what it was, but essentially you said something in the program that's been stuck with me forever. And it's, you don't need to know more than like another expert. You just need to know more than that one other person. And as long as you're doing it from a place of love and integrity, and obviously you're not out there scamming people, telling them that you know all about NFTs or whatever, you know what I mean? As long as you're not doing some shit like that, like I feel like everything is possible. And looking back when I was really broke just 2 years ago, literally living off McDonald's dollar menu, my friends had to take me to work, like alone in the US. And it's just, I wish I would have had that knowledge. I wish I would have said, you know what? I know more than that one other person on social media. Maybe I could just sell them a little freebie for like $10 or, you know what I mean? Have that passive income there. So now through all of this experience, I've learned that I can literally make a business out of anything. And I don't necessarily need to be, involved as much in the process, because I'm able to just like, my content creates a new business on its own. My content can create a freebie. My content can create a course, because it's all recycled information that's going back and forth. So it's just really interesting how now looking back, I'm like, wow, this was available all along, but I just didn't see it.
But you're also still so young, and it's incredible to see that you've recognized it now and that you see it now, because where you could go, I can't even see. Like, I can't even see where you can go. And I want to just bring up for a second, if you're open to it, you've been very open on social media. Definitely, you've had a lot of press around this. In fact, you were named one of the Latina creators, right? TikTok had picked a bunch of Latina creators, and you got to do some really cool projects with them. But you've talked about, yes, living off the McDonald's, dollar menu, but maybe being one of the first people in your family to really create like generational wealth. You said, I'm here alone. Where's your family?
Yeah. My family is in Panama, and then the other one's in Venezuela. And like, thankfully they were able to like leave Venezuela. And, you know, Venezuela is not as bad as people think, but it is pretty bad. So it is bad. Never mind. It's bad. But we left when I was 6 years old because my brother got kidnapped, and we got him back immediately. Like, he's still chilling, living his best life, his annoying girlfriend, all's good. But, we left because of that. And then we like traveled from country to country. I lived in Brazil, Dominican Republic, Panama, and eventually came here at the age of 17 by myself to pursue a bachelor's degree in Full Sail in Florida. And then my parents went bankrupt literally on like my second, I think it was like my 4th month or whatever. And as you probably know, as an immigrant here at that status, specifically at that visa status, we're not allowed to work more than an hour a month, and we're only allowed to make $150 a month. So, I mean, as you can, even if it's Florida, like you still can't afford anything there, right? So I had to do some things and, you know, try my best. You know, I would like freelance and as much as I could, just, you know, try to get some money and whatnot. And then eventually I started writing articles. So me writing English being my second language, really strange, right? But what was so funny is that I was writing these articles and I would only get paid if the article would go viral. And it was just $20 that you would get paid. So you can only imagine how much I would be writing and how I would just find different ways to growth hack it and like viralize it, right? So then they picked me up and flew me out to LA to produce content for macro creators and mega creators, or micro creators actually. And I was 18 at the time. So then I started producing content from such a young age. And that's been able to like help me keep my head above the water. But even when I came to LA, as anyone knows who moves to LA at a young age, you're expecting the, you know, mansion houses. And for some reason, everyone knows G-Eazy, which is really freaking weird. But the point is that I was broke as hell. Oh my gosh, right before Empower. You remember what I was charging that one client that I was doing a full service agency for? I was charging her $400 a month, and I blew her up within the 4th video. And she's a literal witch. She's in her late 60s or her late 50s actually. And she's a literal witch. She like teaches you spells for self-love. And I'm like, how am I going to do this? But it's okay. I'm charging her for 100. So, you know, you get what you pay for. Then 4th video went mega viral. And then after that, she's released merch, courses, like all the things. And I'm just like, wow, like there's an opportunity here. I don't need to be broke anymore, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been wild. It's been a lot of weight to carry, but I'm happy to carry it any day to like help my family and also help other Latines that are trying to come here. You know, my dream business someday is to co-sign businesses so that entrepreneurs can immigrate here safely. So I have no idea how I'm going to get there. I'll let y'all know.
Say it again. Say it again.
Yeah, I'll let y'all know, but I am super excited.
No, say it again. Tell us your dream again.
Oh, my dream is to co-sign business and entrepreneurs so they can immigrate here safely, you know, because I feel like the investor visa is between $500K to $1 million. It used to be $250,000. And now it's obnoxious. Of course, like in some other ways, like some people are able to get it if they like run a VC round or whatever that is. And a work visa just gets you tied to a corporation forever. And I don't think that that's fair for us. You know what I mean? So I have no idea how I'm going to make this happen, but within this next couple of years, my dream is to build a company that's able to co-sign entrepreneurs and just be like, I believe in this person. I'll take the, you know, legal risk. Yeah. And obviously it has to be people who I can see like their vision and everything, but I think we should all be given the chance to come here safely. I don't like using the word legal or illegally, you know what I mean? It's just safely. I just wanted to get here and not go through what I went through. So there's this quote that's like, what you're going through right now, it's a survival guide for someone else. And I'm so happy to be the guinea pig for this. Like, I'm so happy to be the person that's going through this. So I don't have to let like another young girl like me go through this shit again. You know what I mean? But it's all good in the hood. We are moving forward.
Meanwhile, I'm crying. Someone else is crying. They're writing in the comments that they're crying. This is what's so cool, though. This is the thing that's so powerful, is that everybody has this similar sort of like vision and passion inside of them. And it might not be for, you know, immigration. It might not be for funding. It might not be for this, that, the other, but everybody's been through something. And everybody, for the most part, wants to help other people so that they don't have to go through what they went through. Oh, yeah. And that is truly like, I can't even compare the two to what you're talking about with immigration, but that is why we created Empower. It's so that you don't have to go through what I went through, because for me, it's been 10 years in the digital space. I didn't have a growth hacker. I didn't know what I was doing. It's been 10 years of trial and error. So we've sort of just packaged it up and we're like, here you go. Don't go through the pains and the struggles that I did. Not to say that you won't, because you still will, right? But let me help you navigate them with ease. Let me help you get there faster. Let me help support you with a group of people that can support you. And I know you've gone on to have a bunch of your classmates hire you from when you went into Empower. So you joined Empower, launched your secret sauce.
Secret sauce social, yeah.
Yeah, like launched your program in Empower, and a handful of your actual classmates from that cohort who knew it wasn't built yet because they were in Empower with you. Like they knew it was not a real thing. They invested in you and they joined. How'd that make you feel? How'd that change your business?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll get back to that point in a second, but I just want you to know, like, I haven't met a single Empower You graduate whose business doesn't have a social impact like aspect to it. Every single person that comes through, yes, they obviously want to leave their 9-to-5s. They want to become entrepreneurs. They want to create and be monetize their zone of genius. But they always, like, all the stories that I would hear during Empower where I want to change someone's life, I want to change the world and whatnot. And when we're creating from that standpoint, when we're creating from impact and wanting to serve other people, like, I feel like you were very clear on, like, it's about them. You know what I mean? Not about just you and your story, like, that's valid, but it's about the people that you're serving. I feel like that is what makes Empower such a powerful program, because you're just surrounded by other people who are willing to, like, change the status quo and the world and whatnot. So it just makes it a very tight community, because in no way, shape, or form I have ever felt like, oh, that one person is money hungry or whatever, which you could totally be, as long as you know that your why is right here. Because if you're doing it for the money, the same thing that I tell people when they're starting TikTok, if you're doing it just to go viral, you're going to suffer. You know what I mean? So you have to have a bigger why. But as far as, like, my classmates hire me, it's so funny because as I was going through the program, as you know, we still have a group on Instagram that's called Empower You Chat Fam, and it's just a couple of us that just, like, stayed connected, and we, like, still talk to we talk every, like, single day. It's almost, like, creepy at this point. I love it though. But it's so funny because
I have FOMO.
I know, major FOMO, but, like, no, we've had it. There's just a couple of us, it's not all of us. And it's just like us giving each other support and whatnot. But while I was building my program and while people were already paying me, I was in a group chat asking for feedback. So it was just so funny because, like, they obviously saw that it wasn't fully built. They obviously saw that I was changing things last minute. And whenever, like, someone that wasn't from Empower You would have some sort of, like, question or whatever, I would go to that group. And though most of the clients are there, they'd still answer. And it's just been very, it's a very community driven program in general. Like, I just really feel like you gave us access to, like, lifetime friends. Does that make sense?
Of course.
So yeah, it's been really cool to, like, be able to experience that, and also to just see them grow up on TikTok from zero to, like, surpassing me even some, which I'm, like, super impressed by. Alex Scott, relationship coach, literally, like, within her first couple of videos, it blew up so much that ended up in TV, daily news, like, all the things. And I'm like, damn, girl, I want that. What you doing?
Teach me your way.
As long as they're succeeding, I'm good.
Yeah, she had the TV spots, and then Dinara landed her TED Talk, which was wild.
Oh my gosh. So the TED Talk thing is the wildest thing. So as you know, it's been on my vision board forever. I've never really applied because I'm like, low-key, like, what do I even talk about? But I know I have to heal that. But anyway, the point is that I had a guest coach come in and teach us how to land a TED Talk. And in my head, I'm like, okay, no one's going to get anything out of this. And, like, only, like, 5 people showed up to that call out of, like, 20. And I was like, damn, no one's going to get anything out of that. But then Dinara actually went through with her application and did everything that Liz, the guest coach there, told her to do, and landed her freaking TED Talk. And I'm like, yes, girl, you do it.
I know. But this is the power also of, like, creating these coaching programs, being in this group container, and what we talk about all the time, which is, you know, I'm not an expert in everything. So we bring experts in, and what you can't see, it's like, I'm so sick and tired of saying the quote because I say it all the time, but you can't connect the dots looking forward. So here you are, you being whoever's watching, you're in your head, you're in your own way. You're like, I really want to do it, but I don't know. Okay, I think I've overcome the fear of my age. I've overcome the fear of, am I good enough? I've overcome, I don't need more certifications, but you're still stuck and you're still feeling like, but what am I even going to say? What am I going to teach? Am I this, that, the other? And then here's this story of Dinara, whom you met in Empower. She then joins your program. You bring a guest in to help just bring in more expertise, she does what the guest says to do and lands a TED Talk. This is the ripple effect that I'm talking about. It's not about you. And when you're sitting on the shore of your business, as we keep saying, when you're sitting on the sidelines and you're getting in your own way and you're allowing things to come up, some of them are real. I get it. You're busy, you're parents, you have, a 9-to-5 job, you're a new mom, you don't have the money, all of these things that come up. I just want you to see that you can't see what it could be until you actually take action. And the amount of people, go ahead.
Not only that, it's just I have this firm belief that whenever there's a desire of some sort in your heart or in your head, it's placed there because your subconscious, you could call it source and universe, but you could also, if you're not into that, you can also call it subconscious. Like your subconscious is aware that you're able to achieve this one thing. Like, would I be right now, like, do I want to like whip out a fucking DJ set and start DJing? No, there's not that desire in my heart. Could I? Yeah, probably. But like, I don't want to. But the thing is, like, I've had these little like whispers that are like, oh, maybe I could have an Oracle deck, or maybe I could have a little merch line or whatever. And if it's there, if the whispers are there, then it's because the universe knows that you can do it. It would never place a desire in your heart that you can't accomplish. Like I haven't never even thought about like fucking going to the moon or starting an Amazon because it's not a desire. It's not a limiting belief. It's just not a desire for me. So if right now you're struggling and you're like, okay, but like my age, but this, but that, but my time, my children, whatever. And you have this little desire in there. It's like, just know that it would never be there if you did not think you were not capable for it. You know what I mean? Like it just wouldn't be there.
Yeah. They say like, if it comes to you, it's meant for you, right? Like if you're thinking about it, if it's coming up, if it's keeping you up at night, it's probably a pretty good sign that you should go take action on it. And also know that might not be the be all end all. It might not end there. That might not be your big finale, but it's the thing that's going to get you to the next spot. It's just a stepping stone.
100%.
And I look at your business and I'm like, okay, so you went from like kind of undercharging and figuring that out to now we have this group program. You've got these one-on-ones, you've got your celebrity clients. You just did a raise for NFT stuff that you're doing. You're dropping a merch line. And it's hard to say, like, would all of those things, chicken or the egg, would all of those things have happened had you not sort of taken that first step and said yes and invested in yourself?
Oh my gosh, 100%. Even the shitty things that happen, I'm like, oh my God, thank God. Because if it wasn't for that like tiny trip, I wouldn't be able to see the rest of the land, because when you fall, you're just like, oh, damn, you see everything and you're like, okay, I need to keep going. And that's just so important. And like I said, my group coaching program initially was all about social media strategy, hence the name Secret Sauce Social, which by the way, isn't it like so cute? It's like such a cute
name. With your little squeeze bottle. I love your
it's like a little squeeze bottle. It's so cute. But I really, I realized that social media nowadays, it's less about the growth hacking. As a growth hacker, I always tell people growth hack is not real anymore. Like you could pay for certain things and whatnot, but like it's not authentic. And what's truly authentic is the content that you're putting out there. So I believe that like anyone can be a star solely through the content without any hashtags involved, without any Insta story hacks involved, without anything like that. You know what I mean? So you never know what's going to lead you to your third very successful business idea. Because in the beginning, it was all about me having an agency, realized I didn't want it. Then a social media program, realized I didn't like it. And then when I finally landed on content, that's where I saw the most success coming through.
Okay. So for the person who is sitting on the fence and their biggest objection, their biggest fear is content. I'm scared to show up. I don't want to be on camera. I don't want to be the face of my brand. I don't know how to create content. I'm too old. I'm not good at it. Just talk to me for a second about content and how someone can like get started who is saying, but Jess, I don't have followers. My account's private. No one's going to listen to me. I don't want to show my face on camera. What would you say?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I have such a weird answer to that. But the other day I was thinking about it, and we usually have this question asked to us whenever we're trying to figure out our purpose. I actually did a video about it this morning, but it's about everyone asks you, what would you do if the world ended tomorrow? And like, to me, like, what the fuck do I do, man? I just go back home, chill with my parents. I don't know, eat some Cheetos and then leave peacefully, But when you ask yourself, if I had another lifetime, what would I pursue instead? Or how would I show up? If I had another lifetime, would I be making videos? Would I have a podcast? Would I be making Insta stories all the time while I'm walking around? Would I have a show or whatever that is? And if the answer is yes, then it has to hit you real hard when you realize that there's no such thing as another lifetime, at least not with this consciousness, right? So it's like, it hit me so hard when I realized that I wanted all these things. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I wonder if like in my next lifetime, I'll be able to do that. And I'm like, wait, I wouldn't know. You know what I mean? So I wonder if that's how like my past self would feel from another lifetime. I know it sounds fucking crazy right now. It works.
I'm with you.
Really, really
I'm with you.
So when you're able to really put two and two together and realize, again, it goes back to that desire. If you have like an incline to do something, like that little feeling in your heart to do something, like you just have to pursue that. As far as like the fear goes, here's my perfect example ever. As I work with all of these like big celebrities, like A-list people that I can't even mention because like, you know, NDAs, like I guess Kestos could be one of those people or not even, but all of them has such big insecurities where I remember that I one day, like I was talking social strategy and like a manager was involved with this very big celebrity that I was working with. And they were like, don't bring up that photo. Like, don't bring up any photos that we were taking last night. Like we need to go ahead, edit them before we send it to this person because they're going to have a panic attack if they see their face like normally. And when I saw that, it broke my heart because this is someone I've been looking up to since I was a child, like literally since I was a baby. And I thought like, oh my gosh, once you get to a certain stage, you become the most confident ever. And it's not true. It's like, you're always going to be struggling with these because the problem's not here. The problem's in here. You know what I mean? And even if you do get the best equipment for everything, it's like, I have a Shure mic, which if anyone knows about audio, it's like a really good microphone. Yeah, that one. I love that mic. I have the original version of that, the one that Michael Jackson recorded Thriller in. I have all the equipment. I went to school for media communications, which means I grew up with Adobe products and I master all of them. I edit my audio really well and whatnot. And I still got a comment in one of my podcast episodes that was like, hey girl, just so you know, like you're not mad. The equalizer is not 100% in this episode. So like you would want to do that because it's kind of annoying that like the echoes that are at this rate or whatever. And I'm like, and it's the fact that it does not matter how much my equipment's cost. It doesn't matter if I have like a full face of makeup that day or whatnot. Like there's always someone that's going to criticize you even at your best. So might as well give them the worst in the beginning. You know what I mean? Like just get it started. You know what I mean? So I guess so that would be my answer. Believe it or not, it has less to do with content strategy and more to do with mindset. It's like the relationship that you have with the camera, you know, because it mirrors certain things that you experience as a kid. You know what I mean? Like the main thing that I didn't want to create content actually in the beginning was because of my birthmark. People would make fun of my birthmark when I was little and call it like, oh, that's a cockroach in your head or on your face or whatever. It was just so, my dad would say that too, just jokingly. And I'd be like, damn. But as I like started understanding, like, you know, whether I have it here or not, today's my birthmark. Tomorrow could be my nose. They can make fun of my nose. It's kind of asymmetrical. I could see it. The next day they can make fun of my hair. So it's like, it's never going to end. So might as well just like put yourself out there. You know what I mean? And honestly, you're leaving money on the table. If we're talking business, you're leaving money on the table if you're not creating. Because it's like right now, I haven't posted in a week or something, and it's still making me money, passive income. It's still growing my socials on its own. I don't have to post every single day to make something happen. I post 5 times a month and I'm good. You know what I mean? So it's like, you have to show up, but you also have to understand that no one's as critical as you are about yourself.
Yeah, it's so good. So as we wrap our time here, I have a question for you. I'm super grateful for you being here. Everyone's calling it a beauty mark, by the way, in the comments. It's not a birthmark, it's a beauty mark because you are beautiful.
I actually have a conspiracy theory.
Oh, tell us.
I feel like, I don't know why, I have this feeling that I wanted to prove to myself that there are multiple lifetimes. And then I thought in my past life, what would be something that she finds it so weird that she knew it's a message from me being my other self. And I feel like I put that birthmark there. I don't know.
I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
Conspiracy theory. I'll let it be, but yeah.
I don't know if it's a conspiracy. I think it's a theory and it's yours and I'm all for it. So if you were talking to someone right now who was interested in joining Empower, but they were on the fence because they were, let's go with content. They were just scared out of their mind about the idea of having to create content. Maybe it's someone that's dealing with age stuff like you are. Maybe it's someone who's just like, I straight up don't have the money. I'm eating on the McDonald's dollar menu like you are. I'm here alone. I have no support. What would you say to them?
I would say to them that it's not just the program and the curriculum itself. It's the support and the community that you're going to be building as well, that it is going to connect you with someone else. You know, like the way that I see it is when you're joining Empower, when you're joining any sort of community in general, all of these people become your advocates and become your fans and it's word of mouth, essentially, you know what I mean? So whether you're successfully building a program, let's say a 3-month program, 8-week program, whatever you want to call it, the people that love you won't let you fail. That's like a big quote that always stuck with me. And the fact that the Empower You offers you so much support, like the fact that we still talk and I DM you about like business things and whatnot. And the fact that I know that your team is available for feedback, or like the cohort who already has a knowledge that you've imprinted on them, could carry on some sort of feedback. Like you have no idea how many times, like, I don't want to bother you. So I just go to someone else, a classmate, and they're like, oh yeah, I remember Jess said this and this and this. Let's look through the workbook or whatever. You know what I mean? So it's just a matter of understanding that this investment may seem a little big right now, but it's definitely the next. What else would you be doing instead? Like, what else are you going to be doing instead? Are you just going to sit there and be like, okay, well, just watch this entire live, and I guess, you know, it'd be kind of cool, but like, I'm gonna not go pursue my thing, you know what I mean? Or would you rather be in a place where not only do you have support, but you actually have a blueprint that's worked for everyone that I've seen gone through Empower. And in addition to that, you also get, you know, lifelong friends that are going to support you and even maybe join your own programs, or know someone else that will join your programs. You know what I mean? So I think you're getting the full package. It's so much more than just a blueprint for business and content. It's more along the lines of a full-fledged like tribe that you're building as you're going through this. So yeah, like the fact that we still talk and it's been since 2020, it's just wild to me. Like this morning, I was just checking messages from Christina and Dinara sending each other like resources for like menopause workbooks or whatever. And I'm like, I don't get it yet, but I'll get it someday, and I'll go back to this group if I need to.
You'll hit TikTok up or Instagram or whatever.
Right.
Oh man, Andrea, thank you so much. Where can people find you? Lauren's going to drop your Instagram link, but where can people best find you if they're interested in learning more about you, your programs, or your work?
Yeah, absolutely. So my Instagram is at Andrea X Casanova, and my TikTok is at Latinapreneur. Feel free to DM me or anything that you need. I'm here as a resource all the time.
I'm so grateful for you and the work that you do, and just the conversation that we had and how open and vulnerable you are, and our continued friendship over the years. I love you to pieces. And I know that everyone loved hearing your story. So thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely. Love you guys. Oh my gosh, do it. You won't regret it. Bye. Shamelessly selling you. Bye.
Amazing. I am going to put a bow on everything. If you have watched us live, or if you are here watching the replay, thank you for being here. I hope these 3 stories were impactful and just show you what's possible. Obviously, all 3 of these people are graduates of ours. I did not ask them to speak about Empower in a way where they're selling it to you. I didn't ask them to try to enroll you. These are just real stories from real people. And we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these where we can bring people on from different countries, different ages, different backgrounds. The amount of people that have actually come through Empower specifically during pandemic. We had 2 cohorts going on at the same time in April, May, June of 2020. Andrea was in one of those, and we had 100 people, and majority of them didn't have a job. Majority of them didn't know what was coming next with the pandemic and everything that was going on. We've had people file for bankruptcy that have joined us. We've had people that have been evicted from homes join us. We've had people who just really, truly are at their last kind of straw, and they figure it out. And again, it's not to disempower you if you can't figure it out. It's not to say you're not making it a priority. It's just to show you what is possible. And the reason I chose to speak with these 3 incredible people is they have gone through the program long enough ago to show you that they're still doing it over and over and over again. You know, we can bring people on from our last cohort, which graduated in February, and their stories are powerful. And people had $50,000 launches and $27,000 launches. And it's incredible what they've done. But to show you people that went through the program 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, who are still running their businesses with literally the same blueprint. You heard her. She's like, we go back into the workbook, right? Like, they're using the same model. They're using the same framework. And like Jake said, to, do things differently, or Sandra said, to start to tweak and change and add and delete. That freedom is yours. And we always use that Pablo Picasso quote. It's kind of, you're coming in to learn the rules, and then your job is to break them. So it really simply is, it's a blueprint, it's a framework, it's a methodology that works. It's the same one that we've used time and time again. It's one what we're using right now as we're launching Empower. And we use this system on repeat, and we just finesse it each time, and we make it better each time. And this is how I've been able to grow and scale the business and grow the team and grow our impact and grow our income over the last couple of years. It's the same exact method you're literally plugging into, and you heard it directly from them. They're plugging into the business model, and they're just making it theirs. And now having clothing lines and Oracle cards and NFTs and hiring people and pivoting and doing all this really cool stuff. And it just wouldn't have been possible. I'm not taking responsibility for it, but it wouldn't have been possible if they didn't just invest in themselves, if they didn't say yes to themselves, if they didn't take that risk, when for most of them, it was at their deepest, darkest, lowest, scariest point. And that is generally the conversation we're having. Coach Andy has shared her story publicly. She was on my podcast last week of basically being a hair away from having to sell the house. And she and her husband were out of work during pandemic as well. And, figuring it out and making it happen and just the things that people do. It's possible. So I hope these stories were inspiring. Feel free to reach out to any of the three of them. They are incredible. I offer out, last week, we did a podcast episode with 6 of our graduates. Sandra was one of them. Jake and Andrea were not, but that podcast episode shares other stories of people, again, overcoming things, having children while they're actually in the program, starting apps, fitness apps, and the challenges that comes with that. So really great episode of just sharing more stories. And again, I could do this all day. We could literally sit here and have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of clients jump on and tell you what they've built and what they've gone through and the impact that's made in this world. But I will not take up more of your time. So if you missed it, I want to let you know that we opened up 12-month financing as an option today. We have never done this ever in the history of any of our programs. We are working with a third-party company that we're super excited about. I saw Chantel already joined. She jumped in and joined. So congratulations, Chantel. A 12-month financing option is available. That means you get to start Empower for $135. $135. Like, that is bonkers. Doors close for Empower tomorrow. So we just want to make sure everybody who is ready to take action and ready to make the leap and ready to say they're enough is enough, and I'm sick and tired of sitting in my own way, and I want to make a bigger impact and I want to make a bigger income. We want to welcome you in with open arms. You still have the opportunity to book a call with a coach. You can speak to any one of our coaches, myself included, all of today and all of tomorrow. Those are 15-minute calls just to kind of get your last questions answered and make sure you feel really good about your decision. And then, of course, now we've got that 12-month financing option for you as well. Very excited to bring that to you. The team has been working like mad dogs behind the scene to make it happen. And we truly do listen. When we get feedback, we listen, and we took it to heart and we ran with it. So thank you so much for being here. We've tagged our friends below. Go find them on Instagram or TikTok. I hope their stories inspired you, and I can't wait to see you inside. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you loved this episode, I invite you to be a part of our ripple effect and share it with a friend. And please, if you feel called, take 30 seconds to leave a 5-star review, and I'll be forever grateful. Until next time, cheers to your evolution.